There are moments in an investigation when the spotlight quietly shifts away from the person everyone assumes is at the center and towards someone nobody expected. And in the case surrounding the death of Celeste Rivas, that moment happened over the last several days. Someone close to David may be heading straight toward an arrest, and according to what's unfolding inside the courthouse, it isn't him. At least not yet. What's happening behind those doors has become a swirl of pressure, secrets, and unanswered questions, and the people who once protected the singer are suddenly being pressed harder than ever before. The story begins with the tragedy that set everything in motion. When Celeste was found inside David's Tesla earlier this year, investigators didn't release much publicly. What they did confirm was that they considered the circumstances deeply suspicious. Early reports from the LAPD and the LA County District Attorney's Office made it clear that David was being treated as a suspect, though not charged. That alone set the internet on fire, with fans and critics filling timelines with theories, discussions, and speculation about what could have happened. But the most surprising part wasn't the questions about David. It was the strange behavior of the people who were supposed to be closest to him. The ones who handled his schedule, managed his career, and, according to many who saw them, were with him constantly. One of those people is Robert Morgan Roth. In David's world, he wasn't just another industry guy. Morgan Roth ran Mogul Vision, the label behind David's rise. But that title doesn't begin to describe the role he actually played. He was in the studio, backstage, on tour, in meetings, and deeply involved in David's daily life. People close to the singer describe him as the one who knew everything. The schedules, the moods, the weaknesses, the arguments, the late-night decisions. Every detail that could make or break an artist moving through fame at full speed. So when he was called to testify before the grand jury, it wasn't a surprise. The surprise was what witnesses in the courthouse hallway overheard. On Monday, while standing with his lawyer, Morgan Roth talked about what had just happened inside the grand jury room. The hallway echoed, and several people nearby heard him describing how prosecutor Beth Silverman pressed him aggressively. According to those who heard it, she kept repeating the same question. Why didn't he call the police? He responded with something that raised even more eyebrows. He reportedly told his attorney, "I felt like I didn't have the responsibility to do that and just wanted to continue with the tour." The tone struck people as odd, almost too casual for something this serious. And while no one outside the jury room knows exactly what the prosecutor was referring to, the question itself hinted at something heavier. You don't get criticized by a DA for failing to call the police because an artist missed rehearsal or arrived late to a show. That kind of pressure usually involves a situation where real danger is, or was, present. Online, people immediately jumped into speculation. Some argue that maybe Morgan Roth witnessed something concerning before Celeste was found. Others believe the DA's question suggests he may have known about a situation unfolding long before authorities were contacted. None of that is confirmed, of course, and the only thing publicly known is that investigators felt his silence, if he stayed silent, was a problem. Still, even framed as speculation, that overheard conversations signaled that something inside that room had escalated. But Morgan Roth isn't the only person in David's orbit catching the attention of investigators. There's another manager, Josh Marshall. His name has circulated ever since details surfaced about the Hollywood Hills house where David was staying. The same house that police raided shortly after Celeste was found in the singer's Tesla. That raid wasn't random. According to law enforcement sources, the house was key to the investigation. And the lease for that property wasn't signed by David. It was signed by Josh Marshall. Josh wasn't just some admin signing paperwork for convenience. Like Morgan Roth, he was part of David's management team. His job required him to know where David lived, who came and went, and what happened inside places connected to the singer's life. To investigators, that made him important. And if rumors online are to be believed, rumors that remain unverified, Marshall may have been aware of events inside that house that investigators wanted answers about. People have speculated that the house may have held physical clues, communications, or items relevant to the timeline. Again, none of that is confirmed publicly, but the fact that police considered it critical is more than enough to fuel curiosity. With two of David's managers now tangled inside the investigation, the pressure surrounding their testimonies only intensified. And what happened next inside the courthouse made everything feel even stranger. On Tuesday, something unusual occurred. Morgan Roth and prosecutor Beth Silverman walked together into a courtroom adjacent to the grand jury room. That kind of move usually means one thing: a dispute. When a witness refuses to answer a question, or when a DA wants to compel information, the matter goes in front of a judge. It's a moment when pressure turns into confrontation. And when reporters attempted to observe, the judge quickly shut the hearing down, expelled everyone, and closed the courtroom. That sudden privacy sparked even more chatter. If everything were straightforward, why seal the room? Why remove journalists? Why take the extra step unless something unexpected happened? Some believe Morgan Roth may have hesitated to reveal certain details. Others think the prosecutor needed the judge to push him into compliance. None of those theories can be confirmed, but the secrecy and urgency of the moment gave the public more questions than answers. And just when it seemed the tension couldn't rise any further, Wednesday added an entirely new twist. Prosecutor Beth Silverman walked into the hallway and approached attorney Evan Janus, the same lawyer representing Morgan Roth. And according to several people nearby, she wasn't calm. She told Janus that she would have a judge issue a body attachment for a female witness who failed to appear. In simple terms, that's essentially an order for authorities to arrest someone and bring them directly into court. The person she was talking about wasn't identified publicly. But what made the moment even more intriguing was that Jane S., the lawyer being pressed, also represents this missing witness. The connections suddenly tightened. Morgan Roth had already been under intense questioning. Josh Marshall, another manager, was tied to the raided house. And now a woman represented by the same attorney seemed to be avoiding testimony altogether. Rumors began spreading online that this woman may have been involved with or close to both managers, or perhaps even privy to information shared among them. But again, these ideas remain unverified. What is clear is that the prosecutor appeared frustrated, increasingly convinced that some individuals in David's circle were not cooperating as freely as investigators expected. In grand jury cases, delays and absences aren't just inconveniences. They can disrupt the entire investigation. And when the DA threatens to send someone to court by force, it usually signals a belief that the witness holds something important. As the week unfolded, a picture formed, not of a single person being cornered, but of a network of people facing mounting pressure. Morgan Roth, present every day, answering questions he may not have wanted to answer. Josh Marshall, whose role in providing the Hollywood Hills house placed him closer to the investigation than fans initially realized. And the unnamed female witness, seemingly resisting testimony, possibly tied into the same chain of events. This interconnected group raised a question investigators were likely already asking. If David truly was under suspicion, could it be that those closest to him had information they weren't eager to share? Or, as some speculators online have wondered, could someone other than David have played a role in events the public still doesn't fully understand? Whatever the case, something shifted behind those courthouse doors. Tension rose. Voices were raised, deadlines were missed, and people who once appeared calm in public began showing signs of strain. It's rare for a case to unfold so openly, yet remain so shadowed in uncertainty. But the biggest turning point may be the DA's perspective. According to those in the hallway, she didn't sound like someone who was simply gathering information. She sounded like someone preparing for consequences. When a prosecutor begins discussing body attachments, courtroom disputes, and forced testimony, it's usually because they believe someone isn't just being uncooperative. They're withholding something meaningful. And that leads to the question many inside the courthouse whispered: if someone is about to be arrested, who will it be? Will it be the manager who seemed hesitant to call the police? The manager who controlled access to the house investigators focused on? Or the missing witness avoiding testimony entirely? Each possibility raises different implications, and each points to a different potential twist in the story. The only thing certain is that this investigation isn't slowing down. And if the whispers coming from inside the courthouse are accurate, the next person to face legal consequences may not be the one you'd expect. As the pressure builds, it becomes impossible not to wonder if the people closest to an artist begin to pull away, show cracks, or refuse to talk. What truth are they trying to protect?